Here's your wrestling news for August 9th, 2022, and we're kicking off today with Raw, and for many, the biggest story of the show wasn't who was on the show, but who was not. Many fans expected the United States Championship match between Bobby Lashley and Ciampa to feature Johnny Gargano, who left WWE last December but has opted not to sign with AEW just yet. Given that Ciampa was in the match and that Triple H is running things, many expected Gargano to return as part of the game's new vision for the main roster. Fans didn't see that happen, but they did see Ciampa face Lashley in a fantastic match, one that saw Lashley retain the title. Gargano wasn't on Raw, but there was a nod to him, as when Ciampa applied the Gargano escape hold, Corey Graves said that sometimes when you're looking for a submission, you have to do it yourself. The DIY reference was a nod to the tag team Gargano and Ciampa had during their early days with WWE and didn't go unnoticed by fans. With returns happening each week, it makes sense that WWE will eventually offer Gargano a new deal, one that the former NXT champion may have a hard time turning down. Raw also saw Dominik Mysterio once again look bad on the show, which has become a recurring theme for the young former tag team champion in recent months. On last week's Raw, Mysterio ate a spear by Edge, which was a complete accident, but Dominik refused to accept the Hall of Famer's apology this week. Later on, Rey Mysterio faced Finn Balor and came up short against the former Universal Champion, despite Edge coming out to take out Damian Priest. Rhea Ripley, however, brought out Dominik Mysterio, who she had beaten up backstage, and would be the one to help Balor get the win over WWE's Ultimate Underdog. It seems every week Dominik is made out to be even less of a threat, and we imagine this being done to write him off TV, giving Rey Mysterio and Edge the chance to face Balor and Priest at Clash at the Castle. As for Dominik, his WWE future doesn't look great right now, as he's becoming less of a superstar and more of a punching bag as things carry on. We've got news from John Laurinaitis now, who was put on administrative leave earlier this year for his alleged role in the Vince McMahon scandal. It was claimed that the former general manager of Raw and SmackDown aided McMahon in the alleged relationships with WWE employees, and now Laurinaitis is gone completely from the company. PW Insider were the first to break the news that Laurinaitis has been officially quietly let go by WWE, which reportedly happened within the last week or so. Shortly after PWInsider.com posted our story about Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis, several WWE sources reached out to confirm Laurinaitis has been officially, quietly let go by the company. We are told that the termination happened within the last week or so, and it was, for obvious reasons, being kept very quiet beyond a small circle. We are working to confirm when the departure took place, but every source, to a person, made it clear Laurinaitis was let go. It's important to note that Laurinaitis was let go by WWE and did not choose to resign in the wake of the allegations against him. The writing had been on the wall for Laurinaitis, as he had his company phone number disconnected shortly after the allegations were published, and more recently had his role as head of talent relations awarded to Triple H. Laurinaitis was with WWE for decades, but was reportedly not well liked amongst everyone in the promotion, and we'd like to wish Johnny Ace the best in his future endeavors. Over to AEW next, as Tony Khan has developed reputations in his 3 years in charge of AEW, and not all of them are good. Khan may be known for bringing an alternative to WWE to our screens, but it turns out he is developing a reputation of unprofessionalism within his own company. Ringside News reports that Khan's behavior has become an issue in AEW, and one source said that he goes overboard with how he talks to commentators on their headsets. Another source working within AEW has said that Khan has become impossible for anyone to deal with, and there's been more than a few comparisons to Vince McMahon. They add, "People who've worked in WWE say he's much worse on headsets than Vince ever was, and his level of unprofessionalism rivals what it used to be like when Kevin Dunn would start yelling at people and mocking them on headsets." It's also reported that Khan was really out of control during the Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view last month, so his erratic behavior isn't just confined to AEW. Ringside News also reports that a high-ranking Backstage name quit the company after an explosive night on the headset, and that Khan ultimately begged the individual not to leave AEW. More specifically, Khan was said to have chased him down and promised to change his behavior, and afterwards promoted the likes of Pat Buck and Sanjay Dutt to help with his workload. Khan is said to be doing his best at curbing his temperament, but it's unclear if he's succeeding in this endeavor. Khan has made a huge impact in wrestling in just a few short years, but if he doesn't change his behavior backstage, then we may be seeing more wrestlers try their luck elsewhere. One name who is not a fan of Tony Khan is Eric Bischoff, who has criticized AEW and its owner over the years. During his heyday running WCW, Bischoff seemingly had a never-ending pool of money which he used to sign a ton of former WWF talent, and the WWE Hall of Famer sees history repeating itself today. Speaking to NBC Sports Boston, Bischoff spoke about Khan, saying he has taken the ATM nickname. Tony Khan now has the ATM Eric nickname. That ATM Eric thing has gone a long time ago. That man is spending more money than Ted Turner would have ever allowed me to spend. The AEW president has never been afraid to splurge when it comes to buying big names like CM Punk or Bryan Danielson, which has been an issue for MJF, who feels that too much is spent on ex-WWE superstars. It's unlikely that Khan will stop hiring who he believes are the biggest names, even if that means his wallet takes a hit, and even if it earns him the nickname ATM Tony from Eric Bischoff. Since Triple H took over as WWE's head of talent relations, multiple WWE stars have returned to the company, including Dakota Kai, Karrion Kross, and Scarlett Bordeaux. Now, another return has taken place, at least in the crowd, as during last night's episode of Raw, Dexter Lumis was spotted among the fans. Even before fans saw him, WWE alluded to something big going down, as during several segments, a crashed car was seen in the background of shots. Doudrop and Nikki ASH were seen inspecting the damage, and it was only at the end of the night that fans realized the car marked the return of Lumis. Lumis was being stopped by security from reaching AJ Styles, who had just won a no disqualification match against The Miz. Styles looked quite shocked and worried when he saw Lumis trying to get inside the ring, and the commentary team also acknowledged Lumis's presence on the show. Lumis was released by WWE in April and immediately reverted to his Sam Shaw name on the independent scene, where he recently challenged for the vacant NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. A star of NXT, it's no surprise that Triple H wanted him back in the promotion now that he's head of talent relations, and we'll have to wait and see what's next in store for Dexter Lumis. Lumis didn't get into the ring during last night's edition of Raw, and what happened next was mostly for the crowd in Cleveland. Fans in attendance caught Lumis's interaction with security on their smartphones and shared the footage online, with one video showing Lumis being handcuffed as he's dragged out of the building. Another video showed the former NXT superstar being dragged to the outside of the arena, and Dexter had a very similar gimmick as to what he portrayed during his time in NXT. Lumis had been in the middle of an on-screen wedding to Indy Hartwell when he was released, and WWE explained his departure, saying that he had left his new wife, so things could get real awkward now that the two are back in the same company. On this week's Raw, WWE kicked off their tournament to crown the next WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. The titles were vacated back in May after Sasha Banks and Naomi walked out of Raw, and it was on last night's show that fans caught their first glimpse at the brackets. Probably the most interesting team involved is Nikita Lyons and Zoe Stark, who compete in NXT 2.0 and will be making their WWE main roster debuts in the tournament. They'll face Natalya and Sonya Deville in the opening round, and if successful, will face either the team of Xia Li and Shotzi or Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah in the semifinals. There is something to be said that WWE felt the need to incorporate an NXT tag team into this tournament, seemingly believing that they do not have enough women on the main roster, but we'll just have to see if Lyons and Stark can go the distance on their arrival to the main roster. That tournament will see Dakota Kai and Io Sky team up to try and become the new champions, but that's if Bayley can get the New Zealand superstar's name right first. During Raw, Bayley introduced her new partners but tripped over her words, calling Dakota Kai Dakota Sky. Bayley at least owned the moment, telling the fans, "I know I said it wrong, you dummies." WWE has had plenty of name changes, but this wasn't one that the company had planned. But we have to give props to Bayley for carrying on after the botch. And we're ending with Dark Side of the Ring, who for the past few years have introduced casual viewers to the seedier side of pro wrestling, earning praise from fans and criticism from those in the industry. Vice's hit show has faced accusations of deliberately making people look bad, so much so that Jim Ross has refused to work with them anymore, but now a new series is in the works. The official Twitter account of Dark Side of the Ring announced on Monday that a new docuseries is coming to Vice in October, which will see Vice team with The Rock's $7 Bucks Productions. The new series has the title of Tales from the Territories and will see those in the business relive the territory days of wrestling with an October 4th premiere date. The wrestling world is much different now to how it looked in the territory days, but we'll just have to wait until October to see if Tales from the Territories can be a hit like Dark Side of the Ring. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.